Everyone wants to take their business, their skills, to the next level. Small and mid-sized business owners have exceptional insight into how to do this. They endure and thrive because they find ways to overcome the challenges that come their way, and they can teach us valuable lessons to apply to our own companies and lives. Stephen Nooner, founder and owner of Alkali, a company with a unique process that helps businesses more effectively buy and manage their insurance programs. And Bob Gibbons, builder of Riata Commercial Realty, a real estate advisor and tenant advocate, are two prominent Metroplex businessmen who, along with their weekly guests, will ask their and your probing questions, finding impactful solutions that will help you reach for the next level. Here are your hosts, Stephen Nooner and Bob Gibbons.
Welcome to The Next Level, Conversations that Propel Business. I'm your host, Stephen Nooner.
Hey, and this is Bob Gibbons. We're excited today. We've got another great guest. It is Liana Dunlap. She's the president and CEO of CoreSpace. And CoreSpace is a Dallas-Fort Worth-based company that does all kinds of cool stuff in the IT space. Co-location is the top of the list of things that I think I understand. We'll find out a little later whether or not there's any truth to that statement or not. She's been in all kinds of things, top 25 women in technology. She's been featured in the DBJ a few times. Really a cool story here, so I'm excited to get into it. You can find out more about the company at CoreSpace.com.
Welcome.
Thank you.
We like to start off every show with wisdom from others. And today we're going to use a quote that you provided from the great one, Tony Robbins.
Yes.
It is in your moments of decision that your destiny is shaped.
That's correct. I'm a big believer in that.
What is it about that you like so much?
Decisions are hard. Making a decision is hard, and I actually think that's what really can separate people in the world of business, those who can make the hard decisions and those that are procrastinating or avoiding making those decisions. And making those decisions doesn't always necessarily mean you're going to make the right decision. You may make the wrong decision, but making a decision is what's going to propel you forward. It's what's going to set the direction that you're going. And maybe you've made a mistake, but you're going to learn from that mistake. Because another quote that I like to live by is life is happening for me, not to me. So the things that happen and mistakes that might be made, guess what? Typically, there's always something you're learning. There's some gift in that, right? But if you don't make the decision, if you're afraid or there's too much fear there, that's going to hold you back from moving forward in your personal life and your business life.
I understand you had a special encounter with Mr. Robbins at one point.
Yes.
Tell us about that.
I did. Tony Robbins. So I actually went to my first Tony Robbins event. He was here in Dallas last year. Okay. And I have to admit that I went kicking and screaming because I was told it was 4 full days. Like full days, like you don't get out till 1 a.m. And as you know, in my business, I'm like, how am I going to get away for 4 days, even though I'm right here in Dallas? By the second or third day in, the messages that I was receiving back were like, wow, this really makes a lot of sense. And so I looked into some other programs that he offers, and one of them is a business mastery course, right? So I'm like, I have to take business mastery. If anything's going to help me in my business, I need to look into it. And earlier this year, I went to his business mastery course that was being held in West Palm Beach. And it's a 5-day course. And there's this little exercise in there where they want you to put together like your dream bucket of things that are important to you and things that you want to do, whatever that might be. Think big, right? What do you want? One of the things I put down on my list was I want to create a foundation that helps sponsor different nonprofit groups that are on the street and in the trenches to help rid child sex trafficking. And he happened to call on me when I raised my hand to share my bucket items. And that was one that I brought up and discussed. And I'm going to get emotional because it was a very emotional moment for me to share that with a group of like 2,000 other business owners and why it was important to me. And there's a specific group that I wanted to support called OUR, which is Operation Underground Railroad. And Tony also is a big supporter of that organization. Anyways, my story that I told at that particular event like inspired the room. Like the room was just like, wow, you know, there's something else on your list other than the mansion and other things, right? Or the cars and the planes.
Yeah.
And so what happened was it like created this movement in the room, and Tony kind of opened it up, and anybody who was interested in donating to OUR to please
Right there on the spot.
right there on the spot. I was still standing. And we raised a little over $300,000
Wow.
in about 15 minutes. I mean, I was like, I couldn't even think. Like, I was like, wow, this is unbelievable, the generosity that's happening in this room. And then Tony matched it. So
You raised $600,000 in 15 minutes.
the people in the room did.
Wow.
I mean, I helped, and whatever I said in that moment inspired the room, and that was very, very, very
have that on
powerful.
tape?
Yes. Well, yeah. At least someone recorded it on my phone.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Wow.
That's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah. Very inspiring. Very a huge moment of gratitude. And people still, they amaze me. I mean, look at that. That room, business owners, 2,000 people, they couldn't wait to donate to help towards that cause. So
It's
Awesome.
not necessarily the image that gets shared all the time in the media about entrepreneurs, and so I think that's a super cool story in a lot of ways there.
yeah, it was very, very powerful. And then, of course, a lot of people then reached out to me as if all of a sudden I'm the expert, which I had to then really become the expert. But that's how things happen, right? And even then when I got back to Dallas, it was like my team got involved, and who's here working on that, effort here in Dallas. And now we're getting very involved in working with those groups that are working in that space of, helping kids and so forth, and OUR who's doing fundraisers here. So you see, you never know what's going to happen, right?
And that goes back to your quote, right? Which is just,
yeah.
it was a choice or decision to make.
Yep.
To share.
Yes, it was a
right?
decision to raise my hand in
Yeah.
that room
Yeah,
to
put yourself
share
out.
my list, which my first instinct is not to raise my hand in that room and share my list, but I
Bob
did.
never has that inclination. He's always.
Got my hand raised right now. All right, so let's turn it to CoreSpace.
Okay.
So give us the rundown. What is CoreSpace, and where would we have? Well, who's your ideal client?
All right,
That's a better
so
way to say it.
CoreSpace. So we're in technology, and we're here in Dallas, and we own and operate a data center here in Dallas. But our service offering is everything from data center services to managed services for clients. And most of our clients are small to medium-sized business, or other IT folks might be our clients. That's really the niche, right? Because there's this huge, if you see it on TV, even IBM's advertising cloud and Amazon's advertising cloud. Well, they're really targeting bigger companies, okay? We're really targeting and wanting to talk to the small and medium-sized business, the smaller business entrepreneur, right, who needs an IT partner that they can talk to on the phone, who's not some big, huge, somewhere behind the screen company. And so that's who we really work with. So our clients really get to know who we are, who the technicians are that pick up the phone, that talk to them, who the leadership team are.
Now you say it's the full stack. Is the
Full stack.
So what does full stack mean?
Okay.
Pancakes, Bob.
Clearly, you guys are not in IT, so let me explain full stack. Actually, the term full stack comes from the world of development. And developers have been known as a front-end developer or a back-end developer.
Yeah.
And if a front end, meaning they're really good with the front end GUI interface, buttons, user experience, the back end, all the coding and the stuff. Full stack development came into play because developers wanted to be able to offer the full spectrum to clients, the front end all the way to the back end. And we're like, but that's what we're wanting to do in the space of IT. So we're really introducing full stack IT. We, as CoreSpace, not only want to handle your back-end infrastructure, your data center services, your cloud services, we want to be able to offer front-end to back-end. Front-end meaning like end-user support, service desk, VoIP, voice over IP, your telephone system, managing your Office 365, your Active Directory, taking all the service desk calls, and everything in between that all the way to your cloud offerings and your application support, network, and security, and everything that goes in between. So full stack IT. Yes, and we're launching that this year. So
That's
our
exciting.
website will be updated very soon with that. And that messaging has really resonated with the clients that have been coming to talk to us about that. Why? Because the smaller entrepreneur really wants one partner. They don't want to go to a phone guy and then the email guy and then the web guy and then the data center folks or part-time IT. So we're able to come in and do the full thing.
Well, and part of the reason for that, I would think, is that when you have so many partners in the chain of the stack, and I've got this piece of the stack and somebody else has that piece and this piece and that piece, people start pointing fingers, and you don't really have one person to point to say.
I know you want to say the famous line, one throat to choke. I know that's what you're trying to say. And in the space of IT, people feel like choking.
One throat to choke. Yeah, but seriously, because I don't know the difference. How do I know if it's the software, the hardware, the cloud, the whatever?
Right.
I don't want to deal with that crap.
Exactly.
I want you to deal with it and fix it.
We say a lot of times too, also, when everyone owns it, no one owns it is the other problem, right?
Exactly.
Exactly. So that direction for us has been a bit of a shift, but it's come because our clients are like, well, can't you do this for me also? And wouldn't it be great if you guys could handle this and do that? And we're like, yeah, we should be doing that. We have partners that we could work with for areas that we may not already be involved in. We already operate 24/7 already. We're already here. We already have the expertise. And so we've been slowly kind of expanding that service offering, and it's been going really
But you're really
well.
taking on a lot to do that full stack. You're putting out there a lot of
Yes.
responsibility
Yes.
and promises and all that. So how are you shifting your company organization to handle that?
So the sort of skill sets that we're looking now to bring in the company can't just be back-end type stuff. So the guys and the gals that we're talking to need to be able to really talk to end user clients. It's a different kind of conversation than just talking to the IT guy about their server. People that really understand Office 365, we're now a Microsoft certified partner and really understand that space and can work with clients and really own client management. So it's just a matter of bringing certain skill sets into the organization and expanding our team, because now we do more on-site support. But we're actually trying to build a full stack IT model where we actually don't have to do a lot of on-site visits by offering virtual desktops. So they're actually still in the data center. So the more we can actually do remote work or handle things in the data center, less on-site visits, it benefits everybody.
Which is where everything's going, right? Sooner or later, we're going to have all tiny little boxes on our desks, isn't it?
Oh, yeah,
already?
Exactly. You're going to have monitors will probably get bigger, right? Which is a good thing. And what's controlling them, and then your computers will probably you won't even know that they're there, but you're going to be accessing your cloud and your data.
Are your existing clients, how are they adapting to the change? Are they threatened by it? Because I imagine you guys probably have like IT professionals that are existing clients. How do they handle a message like that?
That's a good question. So yeah, some of our client base are other managed service providers that use our facility for co-location services or other managed services. There is a little bit of a competition there, and there could be. We're not trying to take anybody else's business. There's so much business that's out there. That's kind of how we look at it. And we're going to be offering a bit broader service offering than they might offer to their clients. But in no way, shape, or form are we trying to take their business. In no way. We still want to work with them and partner with them. I'm looking to possibly expand our presence out well beyond the DFW area. And to do that, I'm going to need other managed service provider partners in order to do that.
All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk about why would you pick up and move halfway across the country? For business or for pleasure?
Okay.
Stick around.
And now, Confessions of a Recovering Landlord.
This is Bob Gibbons with Riata Commercial Realty, and I am your recovering landlord. After 20 years as a landlord, I now use that experience only for the benefit of companies that lease or buy office buildings and warehouses. Today's confession: knowledge is power. We all negotiate from a position of power and strength, or at least we want to. In any negotiation, the party with the most knowledge probably has the upper hand. And landlords count on this being the case whenever you're negotiating a lease, because most landlords are professional real estate investors and they hire professional leasing agents and property managers. Landlords are in the market every day negotiating leases, while tenants probably only negotiate one, maybe two leases every few years. So tenants feel outgunned. Don't let landlords have all the power. As a former landlord for 20 years, I understand how landlords think and what motivates them. So let me put that knowledge and experience to work on your side of the negotiation. To learn more, contact me at texastenantrep.com. Again, that's texastenantrep.com.
Have you started making plans to take your business to the next level in 2016?
Hi, I'm Stephen Nooner, founder and CEO of Alkali. We have a trademark process called the Empowered Advantage that enables CEOs, business owners, and entrepreneurs to more effectively buy and manage their insurance. Before sitting down to make your plans for the new year, here are just a few things to consider. Would you say that you have an actual insurance strategy, one that you can articulate, or have you just purchased a policy here and there over the years? If you have an insurance strategy, was it discussed under the pressure of a renewal deadline or considered earlier in the year to avoid fire drill decision making? If your answer was no to either of these questions, then you may not have the right partner on your team. Visit alkaliservices.com to contact us and take the next step to a bigger and better future.
Bert Copeland with New Life CFO, and this has been a great experience being interviewed by Steve and Bob. It's kind of like being interviewed by the two grumpy old guys up in the Muppets.
We are back with Liana Dunlap, President and CEO of CoreSpace. To learn more about CoreSpace, please visit CoreSpace.com.
So before the break, I teased the audience a little bit with the question of why would somebody pick up and move halfway across the country. So
What a teaser it was, Bob. I'm really proud of you.
They're all dying to hear the answer.
so why would somebody pick up and move half? You were in Southern California and you moved to
Yes.
Dallas. Why?
Yeah, I have always really been in Southern California, so moving to Dallas was a really big deal.
Yeah.
But it was for the business. I was looking to relocate headquarters, and we looked all over the place. We looked in other states as well, not just Texas, but where it landed for us was Texas, and it was Dallas. And so that was the reason why I moved out here. But from the business side of it, well, Dallas, first of all, is growing tremendously.
Yeah.
The IT world in Dallas is growing. I think it's probably only second to Austin with regards to the IT workforce that's coming in here, right? As well as the other businesses like Toyota and others that are coming in. And a big factor in the data center part of my business is power. Okay. So power is very, very expensive in a lot of places, including California. And in Texas, because of the way that the power works with regards to the fact that it's deregulated, we were able to bring our power rates down significantly. And so that was another big factor. And by being in here and owning a data center and being able to, work with the power companies, it gave us an advantage in this space than trying to do it like outside in California.
So when you were in California, and what was the critical thing that occurred that said, hey, I've got to move my business somewhere else?
So we've had a presence at a pretty big facility in downtown Los Angeles since we started, and the rates keep going up. Like every year, the rate to be in that space and the power would be going up.
Right.
And so it's like, well, at some point, this is just going to price me right out of the business. So in order for me to really control this, bright idea, maybe I should own a data center. Maybe not such a bright idea, but it was, at the time, that's what really made sense. So that was the trigger. Like, if I could own the data center, control the costs, control my power expenses, that would allow us then to add to our customers the right amount of value, but be able to bring the price down and be very competitive in that space. So that was some of the initial key drivers that got us here.
So how did you go about the search? I mean, you said you looked at other places around the country.
Yeah,
how did you decide what to look at?
The idea was that we wanted to look at we were trying to find data centers that already existed. Like, it'd be really nice to walk into a building that already had everything there than trying to start up.
And they were trying to go into business, out of business, and you wanted to buy it fire sale, right?
Yeah, so we shopped around. So we looked at buildings that had operated as data centers and or already had a lot of power infrastructure built out in it. Companies that were looking to sell that might have had their own data center. So we looked in Nevada, Arizona, and Texas were the three key states that we targeted. We worked with brokers and so forth to look at different opportunities. And then out here, we were able to actually buy a building and then did an acquisition also at the same time of the company that was in there. So we were up and running day one. That's how that worked. And then relocated a lot of our business that was in California out to Texas, and then hired the workforce here to get that going. So that's how that
Interesting.
started.
So you started, it got you here.
It got us
Would
here.
you say that overall, like what you thought in your mind you were trying to achieve by doing that, did you achieve that, or did you end up diverting to a different path?
We achieved it, but let me tell you, there's the fantasy world of owning a data center.
Sure.
Like, oh, wouldn't it be cool to own your own data center? And then there's the reality. And I've learned a lot about power and HVAC and 208 volt versus 120 and PUE. I mean, everything that you could possibly imagine. I had no idea really at the time what I was getting into. That's reality. So, it got us what we wanted, but it brought a whole new level of having to learn how to manage and operate, a facility that's set up to be a data center and all the power that's going into it and the critical power infrastructure. So that was a big surprise for me personally.
So would you do that
learn.
again? Would you buy it again if you had to do it over?
No, I probably wouldn't, because in some ways it's taken us several years to kind of get our handle on it, which I think kind of held us back. We have our handle on it now, and now we're,
Right.
doing what we need to be doing, but we could have maybe started that earlier. But when you're, we redid a lot of the data center when we came in. So the first couple of years was all focused on building out the infrastructure, both the network infrastructure and the power infrastructure, and putting in huge generators and UPS systems, and I don't have to tell you what all that stuff is, but it's required to really make your data center efficient. So next, if I had to do that again, I'd probably leave that piece out and want to focus on the services, and I can just be a co-location client for somebody else in a bigger data center, and let them kind of handle that piece, and then let me run the services piece and the support piece.
Now, do you still have operations in Southern California and anywhere else?
We still have a presence in California. We also have one in New York, and then we also have here in Dallas. We're at the InfoMart.
Okay.
Yes.
So I know you said Dallas has a lot of IT professionals and
Yes.
everything here, but obviously with the market, it's got to be getting more competitive for that talent.
Yes.
I know people are moving here. How do you keep people engaged and retain the right people?
Wow. People, culture, that's the whole other piece that you really need to have, right, to be successful in your business. And, in IT too, it's kind of can be grueling, right? Because it's 24/7. A lot of people have to be on call. We've made an effort to do our best to make it at least a fun environment when you're there. It's pretty open with regards to access to the leadership team and the staff, and sometimes I'll go in and sit with them, and we've got ping pong table, we've got gym set up, we've got a basketball hoop, we've got snacks in the office, the best as you can make IT fun, right? And for our clients, we have a lounge that they can sit in, but we also put what we call like a little Zen room. So, if someone's got a really long shift and they need to go take a little break, that they can go,
A sandbox
relax.
with a rake in it.
No, but that's not a bad idea.
Picture of Bob with his
Picture me.
Right. But I think for the staff, and we're trying to get better at this too, is keeping them up on top of the latest technologies, getting them training, working with them. Technologies is changing constantly, and
So
even
fast.
being in technology, it's really hard to keep up with the big boys and what they're doing, and what should we be doing, and what should we be trying to take on versus not. So, we want to get our staff continually trained. Culture's a big one, and some people are more naturally drawn being able to create a great culture. It's not been my area of strengths, and so that's been something that I've had to work on. Is like, well, I've got to work with other people, and I want other people to be happy at work, right?
But as you expand into the full stack, this is going to become all the more pronounced and more important.
And actually, the staff's liked it because it's changed things up a bit, right? Because now we're talking to like real people on the other end of the phone versus just tech people, and they get to go out in the field a lot more and go out to client side. I mean, that's actually been good, and it's created a little bit of a different
That's
vibe
good.
in the environment than just being all like kind of behind our curtain.
Right.
Yeah.
Bob, you just wanted to say the word stack again, didn't
I
you?
did. I was looking for a way to, I mean, she's got it on her shirt, so it's kind of like.
Yes. No jokes about that. I mean, yeah, anyways. Like I said, it came from the world of development, and until we put it on a T-shirt and I started wearing it, it came up with a whole new meaning, but we'll leave it at that.
All right. So when we start talking about the competitive environment, right now, you know, you've been doing the co-location, some other services, so you've had a certain set of competitors. Now you're going into the full stack IT service.
Yes.
Now you got a whole nother range of competitors.
Yep.
How do you manage dealing with so many competitors?
Well, this is kind of how it's operated. You've got the data center guys, the co-location, some cloud, and then a lot of managed service providers that offer a lot of the front end stuff who are and have been our clients, right? So kind of going into this space because we're offering the whole thing. So there's been other companies that offer this whole thing. I mean, Pro Systems and so forth. They were offering that whole thing, but they're offering at the enterprise level, right? Mm-hmm. We want to offer that to the small and medium-sized business. But that sets us apart because of the fact that we do own our own data center. And the buck stops with us with regards to that piece. Unlike most managed service providers are relying on someone like a CoreSpace to support that, we are that point as well as then the front end. So there's going to be competitors out there, but in the space that we're targeting, us doing the whole thing and the scope of services that we want to offer and can offer does kind of set us apart. And also because we have a pretty good technical team and the kind of skills that they have, whether it's virtualization, cloud, Linux, Windows, we've got a really broad set of knowledge that we could bring into an organization depending on what their needs versus just maybe kind of specializing in one thing. We kind of can kind of do whatever they need, you know? Mm-hmm.
So if we're sitting together 3 years from now, we're looking back to today, what does success look like for you?
I envision like all these like Kias driving around town with like all with what do you call it, the wraps around, all saying CoreSpace, right? And they're out there. I got techs all over DFW that are out there working at office locations. This is what I envision. You asked me, this is what I envision that happening. And that, working with CoreSpace is just kind of like a natural, it's just like, oh yeah, we got to call CoreSpace because we're setting up this office, or we're moving here and we need to get it all taken care of, and they're going to handle it just like the go-to service provider. And I actually, we'll see how it goes, but I could envision us franchising possibly across the United States and being able to work with other smaller MSPs, but in a franchise model to give them access to all the back end that we offer, but let them kind of still manage but taking on the CoreSpace brand and bringing, that way they can bring the business to them through that branding. I'd love to kind of see that start to go down that path in a few years.
So the thing that's interesting about all this to me is that I've had a lot of dreams, but never have they included a Kia.
She didn't say she was the one driving it.
No, I'm sure she's not. Well, thank you so much for being our guest
Thank
today.
you.
We've really enjoyed it. For our listeners, please go to CoreSpace.com to learn more. Watch the exciting new changes. If you'd like to know more about the show, please go to nextlevelshow.com or find us on podcast at The Next Level Show.
Or help spread the word, too, if you know someone else needs to hear this message. And make it a great week.
See you next week.
Thank you.
You have been listening to The Next Level, Conversations That Propel Business with Stephen Nooner and Bob Gibbons. Join us every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. for more prolific conversations that will take your business to the next level.